Hey kiddos. So I've been supplementing my sleeping pills with some indica gummies, and they have been really good for helping me sleep, but have very much affected my ability to concentrate and to process the world around me. And so it's interesting because it kind of makes me think in different ways, which is kind of cool, but it is also just very difficult to get through the fog. But I could definitely see how people could use THC and CBD and CBN, like all those kind of things, as ways to kind of get themselves to think a different way, almost like how a prescription for a psychiatric drug would help with therapy. I could definitely see if there's more study into how THC would affect someone's thought processes and all that kind of stuff. I could definitely see some therapy centered around THC and CBD and all that kind of stuff. However, I'm not a professional, and it has definitely, well, it's fucked me up. It's fucked me up in some good ways and some bad ways, and it just makes it difficult to concentrate in general. So I wanted to do this video. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I haven't been able to collect my thoughts enough to do it. So I figured I would just go ahead and read the thing that I wrote about it because, well, that seems like a better idea. Maybe if I have some thoughts afterwards, I'll expound upon them, but you'll get the general idea just from me reading this thing. So to set it up a little bit, every night I have a few things that I do almost like a ritual that kind of help me to get into winding down, going to sleep, relaxation mode. And so a few of those things include my like skin routine. So I do my skin, but I also like lotion my whole body, and I have like this balm for my feet that is just really nice. It just feels nice. I have this spray, eucalyptus mint spray, that I spray over my bed because it just smells really nice and it helps me to relax. I take my sleeping pills. If I have gummies, I have like vitamin gummies that I take, but also if I decide to take a THC or CBD gummy, I'll take that along with the sleeping pills. I also have a humidifier that you've probably seen a few times throughout my videos because it's just really dry and drafty in here. So having the humidifier helps to keep my nasal passages and my throat and my eyes like moisturized just like a little bit, because sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be bleeding. My throat will be bleeding because it's dried out so much. It's pretty bad. But I also have a candle melter, like one of those little wax cube melters that I melt wax in, and I just like smells. Smells really appeal to me. I have a lot of memories and just thoughts in general surrounding smells. I think I would rather be able to smell something nice than to eat something nice. That's how important smell is to me. All of those things are, kind of nebulously what get me into the mood to go to bed, but also my water. Water is very, 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 very important to me. I mean, I think I've established that through this channel with the sheer amount that you guys see me in the water. Like, I don't really do a whole lot. I don't really leave the house all that much. But when I do, it's typically to commune with nature, and water is a huge part of it. So when there's some motherfucking water that I'm going to be hopping into, I'll show y'all, because that's something that's really important to me. And drinking water is also very important to me. What I do is I have this kind of odd ritual where let me just get into reading this thing so y'all can understand. I think my relationship with water and what I do as like this ritual, it seems a little pointless. Like, it takes a long time for it to happen, but it's important to me. I don't really get a whole lot into the meaning, like what it makes me feel, but the thoughts behind it, I feel like some people might be able to relate to this. So with everything I write, I have kind of a title, or I don't know, a phrase that kind of wraps the whole thing and ties into a bow. And for this one, it's called Subliminal Melt. So Every night before I go to bed, I have a ritual. It's not particularly involved or seemingly all that personal at face value, though I suppose to some it would be time consuming in a way that is both odd and pointless. Every night before I go to bed, I melt ice. I'm not sure exactly what I enjoy about it. There is a sense of absolution and washing away of one's sins, but that's not entirely it. I enjoy the quiet formation of these delicate skeletons as I free them from their frozen prison, allowing the water to shape the ice. And for so long, I thought that was precisely what I was doing, shaping. But I've come to discover that the peace this activity brings me is not in the formation of something new, but the obliteration of something otherwise concrete. It's not only that the ice melts, but that it is destroyed by another form of itself. I think in any act of destruction, one is destroying, or at least attempting to destroy, part of themselves. What am I destroying every night? What am I attempting to melt away with such ritualistic abandon? There is no solace in what it has become, but the fact that it is no longer. I very much would like to embrace my own oblivion, to be granted amnesty from this reality. I wish not to be perceived, nor to perceive. I wish not to be. I wish not merely to melt, but to sublime. There can only be freedom. And of course, in anything that I write, there is this underlying grapple with existence, with reality, that I just find, I mean, it's kind of the underlying current of my life, honestly. But in melting this ice, I don't know, it's hard to explain how exactly it makes me feel. If anything, and maybe it's the lack of feeling that feels good. That it isn't an exercise in existential dread. It's a pointed activity that I engage in that feels like nothing. And in nothing I find quite a bit of relief. I think that's what it is, or at least a part of what it is. But it does bring me a good amount of peace to destroy. And I'm not entirely certain what it is I'm trying to destroy. What part of me is connected to this experience, this destructive experience? Maybe it's literally my existence. Maybe it's as fucking simple as that, but I tend to think not. Though I do have quite the habit of tying things that I write, or maybe just forms of expression, with my ever losing battle with not wanting to exist. I do that often. And maybe I should focus on other things. It's just really hard. And that's the only thing you can think about. And there's no part of existence that has nothing to do with existing. So it's kind of difficult to get away from it. But melting ice brings me a fair amount of solace. Honestly, it does. And drinking water feels fucking nice too. And so I think it's this work that I'm doing towards having something that I really enjoy Like, not only am I destroying something, but I'm also making something for myself that is both life-giving, but also is something that I just legitimately, genuinely enjoy. I just like cold water. I really like cold water. Like a lot. Like a lot, a lot. I've had videos, I can't remember what video it was, where I actually captured one of the times where I was drinking water, and like I have a face I make, y'all. I have a face I make when I have like a really good motherfucking sip of cold ass water. Let's see if I mm. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the face. Um it's not like the most attractive thing in the world, but you can tell I'm enjoying myself. But yeah, that was something that I have been wanting to talk about for a while, and I am definitely interested in you guys' thoughts about like this attachment to destruction. And do you think that in destroying things we are trying to destroy a part of ourselves? Does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense. Even in the most rudimentary way, I think it makes a lot of sense. And do you guys have things that you do, rituals that bring you peace or bring you fulfillment or satisfaction in any way? Or things that you do to keep yourself calm, to bring yourself back to center, even if it's not necessarily good or fulfilling? It is something that kind of ropes you back into experiencing life in a way that is constructive. It's interesting that an act of destruction is something that helps me to become more constructive. But it very much is. And it is a little subliminal. It's not necessarily always evident in the forefront, but also sublimation feels like the ultimate destruction, from solid to vapor, or solid to gas, however you want to think about it. It's just wild. Wow. Yeah. I'll talk to you later.